Aloha and welcome to the Embodied Healing Self podcast with your host, jenmons. Each week, join me for soul-inspired, conscious conversations around embodied healing and awakening to your soul's purpose. Thank you for listening in. Aloha, my friends and family. Welcome back to the Embodied Healing Self podcast. So I've been getting some questions lately about the Soul Illumination work that I do. And you may have heard me talk about the 12 pillars to soul alignment. And I thought, why not record on it so that I have this episode to share with you all? So today we're going to talk about the 12 pillars of soul alignment. And what does soul alignment even mean? And where did this concept come from? Well, I can share with you what it means to me. There are many different thought leaders and authors and teachers that have certainly taught on this topic. And I've gathered from the books I've read and the classes that I've taken and the training that I've done and allowed my own expression of what this means to come through, which is how I created the program Embodied Soul Signature through the 12 pillars. Embodied Soul Signature is the idea that there's an energetic frequency to the highest expression of our soul. And that's what the soul signature is. When you think of a signature that you write on a piece of paper, it's unique to everyone. And so your soul signature is unique to you. It's your energetic imprint that you were born into this life with. And as we go through life, we experience wounding, betrayal, abandonment, and our frequency gets scattered. It spreads out. It becomes disorganized. And if we're lucky, when in the later years of our life, when we step into more of, for women, the wise woman or the noble man, we begin to align back with that higher vibration, that frequency that is embodied. And it's an invitation to really completely receive and surrender to God's love. Some of you may resonate with source, creation, grace. And so soul alignment is about aligning our way of being with that energetic imprint. And I have a 6-step process that is different than the 12 pillars called Soul Wisdom Imprinting, which I created. That is a tool guide on how to create a life in alignment with your soul signature. I'll drop the link to that Soul Wisdom Imprinting framework in the notes. So, soul alignment is about remembering what we came here to do, who we came here to be. Most of our life we go through thinking that we are our identity, our roles. We're so-and-so's mother, we're a wife, we are our job. Many times people were introduced themselves with, I went to college in the Northeast, and oftentimes when you would meet people, it's like, I'm so-and-so and I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, my first job was an engineer. So how often do people identify themselves with the work that they do? And it starts from a really young age. And so we begin to believe that we are all these things that we've attached ourselves to. Results, our family, sometimes even illness. I'm a cancer survivor. I'm I myself am a HELP syndrome survivor, right? So even just those words I said for so many years, we attach ourselves to these identities and roles. And then later on in life, we realize we're none of those things, and we're all of them at the same time. And when we can learn to become unattached to all of those roles and identities, we find freedom and we create space for abundance. And that distortion of energy becomes clear. And when it becomes clear, we begin to align with our truth again, which is our soul signature. So the 12 steps to soul alignment, which in the end leads to the alchemy of soul illumination. If you think of it in terms of energy, it's like when two frequencies, it's like a piece of music. When the vibration and the frequency comes together, it creates art, it creates magic. And you can think of your own energetic imprint as a piece of art. And that when we align to that soul signature, that frequency that we were created with from a place of unconditional love, it turns into art. It's like music. And we begin living a life in flow. And it doesn't mean easy. What it means is that we can more easily show up and respond to the challenges because we're no longer attached to what that says about us. And so life becomes fulfilling and light and joyful and abundant. And the 3 ways that we become abundant, the top 3 ways, based on the results that the women that I work with get, I've finally narrowed it down to 3 things: are health, wealth, and love. And so often we see some people have one of them really well, or maybe 2 of them, but the third one is off. And many of us have experienced a breakdown in health, money, or relationships. And to really embody sustainable growth in all of them, I believe the framework of these 12 pillars is what we align to when we choose this path, is the invitation to step into that life. And it's there for all of us. So this program, for those of you that are familiar with the energy body, I've recorded several podcasts on the chakra system and the energies, and it's how I view the world with my experience in energy healing and reprogramming the subconscious. So this program was created through the vision of, well, there's 13, but 12 chakras. The ones in our physical body and the ones above. So the first pillar is to create a foundation by creating sacred space. Sacred space allows us to cultivate change because we get clear on the what, the why, and the how to dissolve the clutter in our lives. Our physical lives, our bodies, our relationships. We get clear on our values and our goals and everything standing in the way of where we are and how we want to show up. We dive deep into our relationship with time and energy. And I invite you to consider a shift from time management to energy management, because so often people will tell me that they don't have time. And my invitation is for you to consider that we all have the same 24 hours in the day. And our day is an invitation to reflect our values back to us. So hopefully your time is being spent doing and living aligned to your values. And so we get clear on our values and beliefs, and we create our sacred morning routine. We define healthy boundaries. We go beyond our vision board, and we connect back to gratitude. That's how we create sacred space. Because the frequency of gratitude is really the invitation to receive, and from that place, we begin to notice and attract more of what we're grateful for. The second pillar is to clear energy blocks and heal the heart space. We just go right into clearing the saboteurs, the limiting beliefs, the blocks that we believe are holding us back. And it comes in a pattern. And so if we don't heal this because we don't accept it, we don't know where it's come from, it keeps showing up. Our survivor strategies keep us safe, and it's so much easier to stay in our habitual self because it's comfortable than it is to take a risk. But either way, you're going to be uncomfortable, so why not take the risk and grow? A lot of the saboteurs that show up are believing that you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you're not lovable, you're hopeless, you're not safe. It shows up like overwhelm, seeking validation, needing to be somebody special, people-pleasing, self-sabotaging, not giving yourself permission to be you. You're always doing things for other people. Those are some ways that it shows up. And eventually, as I said in the beginning, this starts to create a breakdown in a relationship. It's either going to be it's health with your body, love in your marriage, or money. Because all three of those are about receiving. All three of those relationships are about receiving. And so in some way, if we're not nourishing the frequency of our soul, we're losing that alignment. In Pillar 2, we go deep into energy attunement by clearing subconscious blocks. And I offer a divine healing session, which is a training from this inner conscious ascension in the United Kingdom, where we go deep into understanding the programming. There's 26 different layers, physically, energetically, mentally, emotionally, sabotaging behaviors, God consciousness, fears, beliefs, the whole thing, to really get clear on how this is affecting our energy field. Because when we have those holes in our energy field, we attract relationships that confirm our beliefs. If we don't think we're good enough, we attract people who don't value us. And so in this pillar, we go deep into uncovering and revealing those subconscious patterns. We also learn the tools of understanding our needs versus our wants, our needs versus our feelings, so that we can create a healthy way to communicate with the people in our life. And we can be communicating this way with ourselves, with our body, with our health, with our loved ones, and even with money. So in those three areas. Pillar 3 is stepping into embody self-love. Because some of us have been taught that being selfish is not okay. And many of us have put others first. And we've forgotten who we are, especially as mothers. We put our kids first. We put our husbands first. We put our jobs first. And then all of a sudden, we're fourth on the list. And we're in our 40s, 50s, or 60s, and we don't know who we are. We don't even know what makes us happy. We don't even know what we want in life. So the embodiment of self-love is very different than actions of self-love. Actions of self-love often culturally look like getting a manicure and a pedicure, getting a massage. The embodiment of self-love is in the moment. It's a connection. It's really feeling it from the inside out. And in order to understand that, we dive into what are our beliefs about love and self-love. Maybe somebody told you it was selfish. What are our beliefs about what that even looks like? It's not a pedicure. It's not a massage, although that's nice. Those are behaviors that result in how we feel about ourselves, just like eating healthy, just like welcoming healthy relationships. But when we embody self-love because we understand our relationship to what that means, then it no longer becomes about the actions. It just becomes a way of being. From there, pillar 4 is about intuitive energy nourishment. And so this is where we tap into taking care of our physical body, understanding that committing to change and nourishment are a form of self-love. And so we begin learning about intuitive nourishment, which is connecting to the idea that we're listening to our body wisdom. And food is fuel. So how can we understand what foods fuel our unique body for our lifestyle? There's no trendy diet that's ever going to work. Not a fan of those, none of them. I like to take ideas from trendy diets, but no one trendy diet or way of eating is going to work for everybody. So learning the foods that are creating inflammation in your body, because inflammation is the underlying cause of all dis-ease. Inflammation creates acidosis. Inflammation creates mucus. It creates a breeding ground for viruses and bacteria. It shows up like arthritis, allergies, inability to focus, skin rashes, acne. All of those things are related to the foods that you're eating. Because when your body's fighting an internal battle because you're not eating the way that your body wants to eat, the way that you're genetically predisposed to eat based on your lifestyle, then it becomes more sensitive to the world around you. And all of our bodies are different. And so finding the way that works for you, it's going to take a commitment for you to listen to your body as you eat. And from there, create healthy lifestyle habits to support food that gives you energy, that vitalizes you. Because when we feel better, when we have more energy, we show up in a totally different way for our loved ones. We become more patient. We become more joyful. We have the energy to be adventurous. We have more courage and confidence. And most importantly, we develop a healthy relationship with food. So not in a way that we're ever restricting or not enjoying it, because the enjoyment and the relationship to food is the foundation for intuitive nourishment. And so we go over what it means to eat nutrient-dense foods, what it means to eat superfoods, what it means to connect with your body wisdom, what it means to reduce inflammation in the body, and how to eat for more energy. And then upon that, we build to the next pillar, which is energetic alignment through mindful movement. So as energy comes in, energy must be released. You've probably felt energy from even just a difficult conversation that needs an emotional release. Well, it's the same in movement with our bodies. And movement is a way that we can allow energy to flow through us. And so in every retreat, every group circle, or anything I've ever hosted, there's always been embodied movement. I integrate my years as a fitness instructor and yoga teacher and dance instructor to create an environment for women to feel comfortable in their bodies and to express creative movement through dance and other types of movement. And breathwork is a large part of this too. There are many tools like Qigong and Tai Chi that blend both, just like yoga. And so we talk about the importance of movement. Some people have created massive changes in their life and their health just by integrating a daily or weekly commitment to movement. They start to feel better in their bodies because there's a lot of stagnant energy that needs to move around. And then upon that, we step into pillar 6, which is really about joy, purposeful connection to joy. I know when I began my spiritual journey many, many years ago, it seemed hard. And there was a lot of unveiling of all the beliefs and ways that my life didn't turn out the way I wanted to, and the people who had hurt me. And at some point in time, I remember being in prayer and hearing the message from God, no, I created you to be in joy. And if you look at children, it's true. And so in this pillar, we connect very much to the heart and the inner child and remember what it's like to be joyful, connect to our inner child, and remember that we can choose joy. Even when things are hard, we can choose joy. Not in a pattern of avoidance. I found myself doing that as well, and many others too. Joy isn't outside of us. It's not going on that next vacation. And for many years, I thought it was. But true joy is in the moment. And it's very simple. And it's always there. And so we remember to connect to play and laughter and vulnerability and our sense of humor, which allows us to more freely live in the expansions and contractions of life. Because there will be moments that are difficult. And there are also moments that are very joyful. And for most of us, it's easier to express pain than it is joy. So it's important for us to remember and to be seen in the joy. For some of us, it's hard to be seen in joy for whatever reason. Maybe it triggered somebody else. Maybe you had a grumpy parent who thought you were too much because you were too happy all the time. And you shut that part of you down. It's the invitation to reconnect to that joy. Upon that, we build into pillar 7, which is embracing your authenticity. And we do this by getting clear on our human design, which is an energy tool to help you understand your personality and how you show up in life. It helps you to understand relationships in your life. It helps you to understand how you respond to experiences. It helps you to understand your healthy self and your survivor self. The Enneagram is another tool that we use, which also helps you to decide when you're in your healthy self and your survivor self, based on the work that we did in Module 2, which is around identifying your saboteurs. And then we get into soul mapping. And so you'll have your soul contract read to you, which is an astrological chart, and you'll have your human design completed for you so that you have a clear roadmap and understanding of, think of it as like the spiritual Myers-Briggs personality test that just gives you a more clear understanding of your soul alignment, and it'll help you to answer the questions of the things that haven't made sense in your life. It's going to show you your spiritual, physical, and karmic gifts and talents, and create a roadmap for you to understand what your soul is here to learn and share. Upon that, we build into pillar 8 and get clear on the energy body. We begin to understand our Ayurvedic constitution. We learn about the chakra system. For some of you, this is new. And how foods affect it, essential oils, relationships. I share with you tools on how to keep your body grounded, how to understand your energetic constitution, and what that even is. We talk about the frequency of emotions, which very much affect our energetic imprint. We begin to understand that everything has energy. We learn about the frequency of nourishing foods, emotions, relationships, money. Everything has a frequency. And it becomes more clear that we're not just 3D beings. We're multidimensional. Upon that, we build into Pillar 9, which is creating sacred rituals for energy alignment. And this is where we begin our sacred morning routine. There's a lot of research that suggests that people who have a consistent morning routine are more fulfilled and more successful, as our culture defines success. It could be happiness, it could be financial, more successful in life. And so creating even 5 minutes a day, it's the word that I like to use is devotion. It's a commitment, a devotion, a daily devotional to life. And I share with you many different ways to do this, because some of you may not even be familiar with things like centering prayer or active and dynamic meditation, or, most of you are probably more familiar with things like affirmations, but there's many different ways to create a daily devotional that works for you. It could be journaling, it could be movement, it could be stretching. It's an emphasis on the intention. And so it's all about alignment through intention, which is a way of being, not necessarily the action that we do. Integrating the way of being with the aligned action creates the results. And you probably heard me talk about that in the manifestation meditation at the beginning of the year. That's the secret. Then we step into Pillar 10, which is energy alchemy, manifesting your dream life. I have a dream life meditation. We'll drop that link in the show notes here. It was recorded at the beginning of 2020. But if you can see it, sense it, and feel it, it's for you. Everything. The only thing standing in the way between you and what you desire is you not taking the action, not trusting, not receiving. And so on this pillar of energy alchemy, it's where the magic really starts to happen, because we've built a foundation all the way up. We've created a relationship with our emotional body, our physical body, our energetic body, and our mental well-being. And now we're ready to align energetically to that blueprint. And so we become clear on our mission and the legacy that we want to create for our family, for ourselves, because all of us are breaking patterns. We are breaking karmic genetic patterns in our families and in the world. That's why this matters. It's not just about us and our personal experience, but the whole world is going through this. This is how we break down that toxic energy. It's how we create more consciousness in the collective to care for the earth and to care for animals and every living being on the planet, because we know that we matter and everyone matters and all of this matters. And so in this energy alchemy pillar, we connect to our divine feminine flow. And we connect to our inner child. Our spiritual gifts and talents become more clear because we have chosen a path of living in alignment with our core values. And from there, we're able to step into pillar 11, which is all about receiving abundance, living in the abundant flow of life. You've heard me talk about this so many times, like a tree in the middle of the forest doesn't need water or sun because it has those things. We don't have to water plants in the middle of the forest. They get the rain and the light that they need because God created us to be abundant. That's what creative life force energy is. And so we were created to be abundant, to prosper. There are many verses even in the Bible that talk about prosperity. And so this is about understanding the abundant flow of life and discovering the elements that affect our ability to manifest and live abundantly by, again, identifying those saboteurs and those blocks, maybe in a new way, and learning to manifest through alignment and inspired actions by releasing attachment to the outcome. And this takes trust. But when you take the aligned actions to get here to pillar 11, there's no reason not to trust. A lot of people can't trust because they're not willing to do the work. You got to be willing to do a little work. You got to have some skin in the game because it says, I'm worthy. I know I'm ready to receive this. I'm worth it. And then that brings us to the 12th pillar, which is embodying our soul signature. Everything that we've learned up until this point, our identifying our hopes, our dreams, our values, the personal growth that we go through to get here, caring for ourselves physically, emotionally, mentally, energetically, it becomes clear that we have a mission in our life, and no mission is too small. It could just be to bring joy to every single person that you meet every day with a smile on your face. That's a huge mission. It doesn't have to be to create a nonprofit or to create massive change in the world. That's wonderful if it is, but it doesn't have to be. Any mission matters. And it's about taking a stand for what you believe and being that stand in the world and getting really clear on what you're a stand for in the world. Discovering your unique gifts and talents, your story, your truth, and living it. Not somebody else's, yours. One of the top 5 things, the top thing people regret when they're on their deathbed, and I don't remember the resource for this, I've shared it in an Instagram post, but it's that they didn't live their truth. Can you imagine? Finally, like at the end of your life, you're like, God, I really didn't live as the person that God created me to be. That's true grief right there. And so I invite you right now to ask yourself, what is it costing me to stay where I am? And am I willing and ready to seek support to grow this year in some new way? And whatever that looks like, support can be from anyone or anything. And if you're interested in joining our North Star Collective, where we go through these 12 pillars of soul alignment, then we'll drop the link to how you can connect with me on a call below, and I'd love to see if it's a match for you. Because from here, we start to identify all the fears and identities and beliefs that were holding us back are actually leading us on a path to our gifts. And it's so empowering because we're no longer afraid. We live in sovereignty and freedom because we realize that every single thing that was ever challenging was actually the gift that we were made to step into. Because then we can share it with others. We get to choose how to show up in it. It's such a beautiful revelation. It's such a beautiful transformation. So thank you for allowing me to share that. I'd love to hear your feedback. Which one resonated with you? Which one is new to you? Which one are you aligned with? And again, if you're interested in the North Star Collective and what we do together through sisterhood, it looks like we go through this 12 pillar program together. We enjoy a 1-day retreat together. You'll have a couple of private coaching sessions with me where we do your soul signature roadmap plus a divine healing session, your soul contract, your human design, the whole thing, the whole complete package. And the results that women get Just last year alone, at least 6 of the women welcomed in financial abundance. I think maybe 3 or 4 of them welcomed in new careers, new job opportunities. A couple of them stepped into creating their own practice, like hosting circles for other women and really creating their own signature programs and their gifts. 2 of them welcomed in soulmate, loving, romantic relationships, new homes. I can't make this stuff up. I often forget because when you spend that much time together and you go through so many wonderful transformations, it's like, well, wherever you were a month ago or 2 months ago was like so last year that, we just continue growing like a beautiful flower that just continues to shed and grow. So if you're feeling cold or aligned to any of this work, I'd love to connect on a call with you. Thank you for joining in, and I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day. Aloha.
The content of this podcast is to educate, inspire, and inform you of pathways to an embodied healing self. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice from your medical doctor, therapist, registered dietitian, or nutritionist for any questions you may have regarding your diagnosis or condition. Hello, friends, and thank you so much for joining me today and being a part of this community. I know there are many other podcasts that you could be tuning into, and I am deeply honored that you chose to listen in and be present with me today. I love and cherish and appreciate you, and I want to invite you to join our tribe and Facebook group under jenmons.com/connect. I would also love to gift you your guide to discovering and overcoming the self-limiting beliefs standing in the way of you living in optimal health, more energy, fulfillment, and self-confidence to create an embodied, healthy, whole you. You can find this at jenmons.com/tribe. I also have one small request to help spread the love. In order for this podcast to show up in the feed of social media platforms of other like-minded people, we need reviews. So please head on over to jenmons.com/podcast to leave a review. You will also find other inspiring episodes on that page. So I personally read these reviews weekly and would love to give you a shout out and share your kind words with our listeners. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook as Jen Mons or The Holistic Coach with the W Holistic and Jen Mons, JenMons.com. Thank you so much and have an amazing day. Aloha.